Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop today, straight from the shores of the Big Rock Candy Mountain via Costco to your empire of dirt, a fap-off Worklight. Son of a diddly. I ask you, what is the point of having the cock and balls of a bull moose if you can't swing them around once in a while? Well, of course, the great thing about the Snap-on brand, I mean, they stand behind their product. You've got a problem with this, you just call your friendly Snap-on guy, your local guy, and instruct, show right up at your house and take care of it for you. This, of course, is the off-brand. Well, it's rebadged, it's branded. Snap-on actually is licensing their name to All Trade. And All Trade does contract manufacturing and then relabels it Kawasaki and a whole bunch of different ones. You go on the website. We'll go on the website just to have a laugh because it's, yeah, you get what you pay for, if you know what I'm saying. So let's have a look at this. And no, even though it's got the Snap-on name, this first blew my mind. I think 10 years ago, I saw Snap-on work boots in the Walmart. So bought them, of course, and they were dirt cheap. Couldn't believe it. You know, Snap-on is in Walmart, and of course they fell apart in 2 months. So I guess they don't mind. They've looked at the numbers or something, and what I hear now is like I bought that real crappy air hose and it shit the bed completely. In the comment, like right in a year, it was totally toast. And in the comments, people had already started to get their head around this idea that it's not real Snap-on. So they're pretty wily that way because people are smart enough to understand that they get pulled in by the name brand because it's a familiar name and it's safe and so forth. So they get pulled in, but then they rationalize it that it's not the real Snap-on. So some kind of shady crap going on there because this is not the real Snap-on. It is a licensed branded product. It would be funny to call your Snap-on guy and then show up with this and get him to warranty it. However, I like my Snap-on guy at an arm's length because every time I go in that Jesus truck, it costs me a couple $100. That must piss them off because they're franchisees, right? They got franchise fees. They got to buy the tools, mark them up, and so forth. They got all that inventory. You know, small business, right? That must really piss them off when they see the corporate kind of dilute their name brand, dilute their cachet. Because these guys, they're Gucci handbags for mechanics, essentially. Only you never see a Gucci handbag at the Costco. A surprisingly unchintzy hand feel. Kind of nice. This is cute. Some camo happening here. They're made to look like stainless steel. Of course, they're not. They're electroplated, just regular steel, but satin finish electroplating. So they must have had to tumble that in abrasive media to get that satin. And then, or maybe after they electroplated, they did that. Looks like stainless, is not stainless. This is completely stupid. Here's the heatsink. Yeah. Plastic, all plastic in the heatsink, and then the housing itself is aluminum. They got it reversed. This should all be aluminum for, yeah, well, it's got a heatsink on there for a reason, and that reason is to fool you into thinking it's aluminum, but it's not. This is a nice dimmer switch and custom knob, shielded, nice heavy detent on the stop start there. That's a nice feature. And Now, it does come off reasonably hard, but nice little knob there. This is a steel handle, bent urethane, open cell urethane foam handle. Fit and finish is pretty good, but the printing, you know, that silicon bulb that they use, they silk screen on and it comes over, and that's off. The O doesn't look right. Not the size of the font is correct, but just the printing wasn't implemented very well. It looks real chintzy. Of course, name brands, that's super important. We don't have any cobs. We have individual LEDs that have been surface mount, well, they're a surface mount device, and they've been reflowed on there. This appears to be acrylic and not polycarbonate. It'd be nice to be polycarbonate, but of course acrylic is quite a bit cheaper. We'll have a closer look at that, though. I could be wrong. Other than you know, the factory schmoo on there, I don't know what the hell that's from, but kind of gross. The cord, where the pixies meet the wall. UL listed SJ, so service junior, that means it's 300 volts rated. Could be medium duty, could be heavy duty, depending on the jacketing. It's TW, so W means water resistant. There's no O's in there, so the jacket is not oil resistant, 1 O. 2 O's, the jacket and each individual conductor insulation is not oil proof. 105 degrees centigrade, so this is likely not PVC, something better, but that is not a thermoset elastomer. It's just a thermoplastic, so it will remelt. Could be polyethylene, something like that. Not the best. If there was an E in there, we would know that's reasonably, well, pretty skookum. However, how much power is it drawing in a LITHIUM bulb? Probably not that much. Just bog standard off the shelf strain relief metrique. Other than that, not much to it. Labels are on straight. That's a plus. Intertech listed, so shouldn't burn your house down. Mark of the beast, but you know, dirty job. Somebody's got to do it. And All Trade Tools LLC, made in China. Easy as that, Bob's here. We're in like sin. Got some transformer fish paper here, what for preventing arc flashes or something. Affixed directly to the high permeability plastic heat sink is the control board. This switch mode power supply keeps the big chunks of frozen water out at least. This is some sort, it's not butylene, it's not Buna N, typical O-ring material, because the durometer is just right out to lunch. Super soft and squishy, almost like elastic band material. Strange. Definitely not oil proof. You can tell just by looking at her. Oh, speaking of which, I think I must be mistaken on the material here. It's probably polypropylene, because polyethylene only goes to a lower temperature, something like 85 degrees science. And PVC would, it's gasoline and oil resistant. So this, so they would likely add at least O to this. So this has got to be polypropylene. That's my best guess anyway. Real curious to see the arrangement on account of the potentiometer. Looks to be in series with the cob, the LED cobs. Of course, we just got a pretty much bog standard switch mode power supply, input, some input chokes and some capacitors, some protection from voltage spikes through a metal oxide varistor. Here we have the designated IC, don't know what that number is, but it's a switch mode power supply chip that's controlling everything. Got a couple of MOSFETs, which are actually the switches. So this guy will take signals from somewhere, determine what voltage and amperage is going into this guy, and turn the MOSFET on and off very quickly. And then we also have on this side same thing, whole bunch of diodes. So we take AC in here, it gets dropped down probably in voltage, and then goes through some diodes, gets rectified into DC, and then gets chopped up, I would assume, according to what the position of the potentiometer is. It gets chopped up more or less in a pulse width modulated arrangement in order to vary the voltage to the cob. So this, definitely, when we look at this with the camera, very likely it will be flickering. On the obverse, nothing interesting. QC'd in 2016 at the last part of the year. Not much in the way of isolation here between the high voltage side and the low voltage side. We do have a nice big gap there. We can see the flux is the no wipe flux. It's on there. We still get the fingerprints and all the dust from the factory there. That's, oh yeah, that's the router dust. Yikes, nasty. Right full of glass fiber. On the subject of, well, there sounds like there is some glass fiber in this ABS. Yeah, there is a little bit, seems to, according to my well-trained ear. But look at this. The tool. Worn right out. We can see it's been poorly... well, it looks like they just roughed it up and then put on a piece of... an extra shim pack or something on the mold itself. And, you know, I initially thought this was some sort of heat dissipative decal of some sort, but no, it's in the mold itself. All that ugliness is right in the mold. Aesthetically, there's an interesting design feature here. They decided to put the fasteners in from the front side, even though there's a logo here, and they would have need to. They had to make sure that this didn't lift off. So what they really could have done is just done everything from the one side, all the fasteners from the one side. Of course, they couldn't do all the fasteners from the front because that would destroy that. So these are made to look skookum. These bolts are there to make it look skookum. Holding on the plastic. And then this. Well, that's actually glass. Very nice. Proper glass. 1/4 inch thick, tempered glass. Comes in rectangular cross section, and then I nip it off. You can see it hasn't been cut, it's actually been broken. And they have taken the time to knock that razor sharp edge off, so that's kind of nice. Problem is now there's no user serviceable parts inside, of course, because this is all silicon carnied in forever. We'll try and get that out without breaking the glass, but ain't no point in paying for chicken feed if you ain't allowed to break the eggs. Oh, my mistake. Just comes right out. Soft. Incredibly soft. Oh yeah, okay. So again, silk spray. No, spray painted. There's some overspray there, so this has been spray painted. But some sort of foamy stuff. Maybe urethane. Real sticky though. Yeah, it must be urethane. Because silicon carney doesn't stick like that. There we go. Okay, wow. Wow. Weird. Again, extremely interesting marketing and design decisions. They could very likely get the same amount of lumens out of a tiny little square package, but then you'd feel ripped off if you bought this. I think it was $50 or thereabouts. This makes it look like there's more chooch there than there actually is. Now, this has got to be a constant current, so switch mode power supply with constant current on the back end. However, it's in series with this 500 kilo ohm potentiometer. So what is, maybe it is? Yeah, interesting. I might need to get the scope out and have a look at this. The oscilloscope being all the way in the room formerly known as wife's sewing is a little out of hand right now, so we'll just forward voltage of 2.5 volts. Wow, these are in parallel. There's two banks in parallel of 8 times 2 is 16 plus a half of that, which is another, plus a half of an 8. Woo! So 20 volts. So this will only actually see 20 volts. Let's check that out. And I like this too. Nice feature here. Well thought out. They take positive black wire and negative white wire. It's the attention to, it's the little things. You know, it's the little things. There we go. Comes on at 20 volts. Perfect. Nice and bright at 21. Yeah, not bad. 30 volts there. 30 volts full chooch. No, 24 volts full chooch. Ha! It didn't make a sense that this was in series, and it's only in series on the switch, the on-off switch. The other one is just a variable resistor. They're just using the wiper and the one lead, and it feeds back into the board. So this is an input for the control module. So that's, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. What say, gents? We have a proper look at this. The inductive pickup there for that, and you got that. I'll just add that to the pile. We're at 25 volts full chooch, and a boot. That's DC, of course, and a boot. 8600 milliamps. I didn't expect to see this. Completely shocking to me. The power supply is decent. A nice DC, no peaks, valleys, no crustiness, constant current source here. 25 volts at full chooch. Say an amp, well, 0.8. So finger maybe 20. Hi. Non, c'est temps pour faire dodo, ma jolie. Oh, t'es donc bien chouette. Va faire dodo. I know you want a hammer. Look at the bags under your eyes, sweetie. It's time. Fais dodo. Now that we've been around the backside of this thing, and I assure you I'm fully qualified to run a clipboard and a white lab coat, this thing is only getting 20 watts of power to the cob. So a little bit either overrated, or this thing is only 60% efficient. It's essentially a 10 watt heater. Or 15 watt heater. You decide which is which. I'm not judging that one, but you know, people overrate stuff. However, the thing is, now you got to plug the Jesus thing in. It's not that bright anyway. So we're going to modify it. We're going to make her run like she's coal-fired. Lithium. If you've been around for any amount of time, you will no doubt recall that I done fuckered this one, but proper. And hoop-a-joop this one, I don't even know how. Just looking at it sideways. Guys get at me. I should bring, I should get a new one and put the old one in the case and then bring it back and get a freebie. I'm raising a daughter. Corpo and so forth, but I just don't feel comfortable trying to cheat my way into a free battery that I probably fucked on my own anyway. So I keep these around because there's only one cell that's screwed. Probably just one cell that's screwed on this one. And these are excellent quality cells. So this is a perfect occasion to go ahead and reuse these lithium cells for another project. Precautions must be taken, but check this out. I bought some Japanese electrical tape. No color. Au naturel. So we won't see that unsightly black band around my band. I found a particularly good candidate. Still sitting at 18 volts and must have just broke the case or something. Now just gingerly, ever so gingerly, we're going to pull these leads, cut all this plastic and all of this protection stuff out. Like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Ugh. Been bitten so many times. Okay, there we go. 5 cells, all in a series. So, won't be needing this anymore. Just snip. Ooh, whoa. unplug it first. Just boot had me electro booming there. Let's just double check. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, contact. Hey, keep a lookout. Don't tell the guys. Yeah, we're in the lab here. Got the fry gall going to show you the typical embodiment. Now, you couldn't build this for someone else on account of it being dirty and downright dangerous. There's no protection and there's no balancing for the cells. However, I've found that rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. These things are skookum as frig nowadays. I can't get... I put them in a press and tried to get them to blow up. Cannot get them to blow up. So, we're going to be okay. The way I'm going to charge this is just with the power supply up here. These are out of a battery pack. I believe it was Milwaukee. What we're going to do, maybe for safety's sake, we'll even put... For you clipboard warrior types, we'll even put a fuse in there for you. But what we're doing is we are setting up these little doodads. Now these are a couple bucks a piece. What it does, it inputs a certain voltage, because this voltage will drop, and it outputs a defined constant voltage and constant current. That's these two adjustments. So this is the voltage adjustment out. This is the voltage current adjustment out. So as long as you have enough power coming in this end, you're going to get the same voltage and the same current going out this end. Now the thing is with these guys, this let me show you here, LED cob. It's 100 watt. But we're going to underdrive these. We're going to run about 10 watts through here. However, it's still going to be way more than the 20 watts that we had plugged into the Pixie receptacle in yonder wall, because we got 4 of the cork stuffers. We'll turn on channel 1. That'll give us 19 volts, 3 amps. And we're drawing, yeah, about, well, 9 watts. We'll change that around. As we can see, brighter as frig. Now, we just got to dick around with this until we get, well, there, we're 27 volts on that. That's good. We're happy with that forward voltage. And down here, we got 230 milliamps traveling into the thing. We should get that up quite a bit if I could only find my tool. So we're... Oh, yeah. Oh, look at this. Look at this. I finally found a sticker that encapsulates how I really feel. I haven't got the font just the way I want it yet, but soon. We got her chooching like she's just about coal-fired, and interestingly, see the wattage continue to rise. That's on account of, well, a property of LEDs. As they heat up, their forward voltage drops. They get more jam. That's why you need a current limiting resistor or a constant current source to prevent them from thermally running away. That's 3 down, 4 to go. I'll pick this up and the bastard just about burnt me. So we got to mitigate that heat. You just take some of this heat transfer tape stuff, kind of like a foamy type deal. We stick it on the IC, and then, not perfect, but you got to piss with the cock you got. Stick this down. It is serrated, but better than nothing, I think. Now, there's no mechanical protection, so we're going to have to go in there with the hot snot and firm it down. Got the battery just about charged it. Got to go in the shop, what for cleaning this up a little. There's some teats on there we got to get rid of. And then we got to make some holes for some drive screws. Not going to thread them. That, by the way, that enclosure is actually zinc. So it's not aluminium. My mistake. In the interim, let's see. We got, yeah, oh, there we go. Perfect. Fix. At least until we put it together. It struck me as odd that this would be so darn thick. And then I realized it has to be thick because it's not tempered. Couldn't be tempered because I nipped this edge off. If this was tempered and they nipped this, it'd just shatter into a bazillion pieces. So they've gone with the cheapest option, which is a square section. They've had to go thicker because they can't go with their industrial process and nip this if it's tempered. That's why she's so thick. Oh yeah, that there is some badass motherfuckery. The underwriters Association, Insurance Underwriters of America, would appreciate me mentioning that this is completely unsafe because there is no battery balance charging, and while I do have a fuse, there's no under voltage current or under voltage protection for the battery. So if some dingus left the thing on mistakenly, he could drain the batteries, which damages the lithium ion, which when you go to charge it might preclude an explosion or something similar. There's nothing like a little danger to put you off your toast. Thanks for watching. Keep your dick in a voice.